Hi, it's Jane from the Compassion Project, and I am super blessed today to be here with Lynn Moseley from Port Moody, BC, Canada. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope everyone's doing well this morning, or whatever time of day it is where you are.
Yeah. So, Lynn is an incredible person. She, lives in Port Moody with her man, Dave. They've been together 8 years.
Yeah.
And she has a beautiful grown daughter, Kenzie. And Lynn I've only known her a short time. We connected a couple weeks ago. She's an incredibly heart-driven, compassionate woman. And she has had a lifelong passion for horses and is committed to giving back. She started riding as a young girl, including showing in the Hunter Jumper Ring.
Yeah, that's great.
She is a longtime supporter, volunteer of many organizations tackling issues of mental and physical health. And now she is the president of Valley Therapeutic Equestrian Association in Langley, where they have 9 therapy horses. Am I right? 9?
That's correct.
Yeah. Including a 27-year-old mare named Rosie, who was recently awarded Therapy Horse of the Year in Canada.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Incredible horse.
What was that?
She's an incredible horse.
Aww.
Yeah.
So we're going to share with people, what's been happening with the pandemic and this incredible program you've come out with called the Frontline Heroes program. But I'd love to start by, finding out your story and when you started this love for horses at a young age, hey?
Very young age. My family had horses back when I was 4 years old. My sister was more into riding them at that point, but I was always around and hopping on the back of any horse that would let me. And that's where the passion started. And then riding on and off until my early teen years, and then had my own. We had our own horse, show horse. She was a Morgan, beautiful. Her name was Penny. And she took us into the show ring, and we had many fond memories growing up in the barn and showing and everything that can teach a person. It's phenomenal. And then I had a couple of other horses after that. And then when I moved to Vancouver to start my education and my career, horses were on the sidelines for quite a while until just recently, the last few years, I've gotten back into horses through Valley Therapeutic.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so always bring you back. If once involved with horses, it's a constant pull on your heart. It's where you're home. Yeah.
Aww. I'm just curious about what is it that makes horses therapeutic? Because I grew up in a different way with horses. My dad was very involved in the racetrack in Vancouver, and he always owned horses, and so we were always at the racetrack, and I found them as a young girl a little bit scary because they're big and so it's interesting to me that I'm learning that they are therapeutic. So what is it that makes them therapeutic?
Horses and human have a bond that goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Obviously, they were very fundamental in farming and running your homestead, transportation, that sort of stuff. So I think that connection is in us all somewhere because it's just part of our history. But horses are extremely empathetic animals. They are very attuned to their environment. They're prey animals, so they're very attuned to in tune with their environment, and they are also in tune with others around them. So horses can be therapeutic in a couple of different ways. They can be a mirror to what's going on with the person that they're working with. So if you are, for example, somebody who's suffering from trauma, maybe PTSD or something like that, and you come into that arena and you're working with that horse, they're sensing that anger and disconnect and anxiety and stress, and they're on alert. they'll often move away from the people that are really extremely agitated, because it's a safety mechanism, which that teaches the person that they're working with that how you are behaving is having an impact on that animal, and how do you change your behavior so that that doesn't happen. And then people will learn how to use the same techniques in their relationships with other humans. You know, if you are putting out that energy and you're driving this animal away, imagine what you're doing with your family members or your friends. So they can be a mirror, but they also sense when somebody, and this is what's happening with our frontliners quite a bit, when someone just needs somebody to you know, the hands-on touch to bring down that stress level. And we see it. The horse starts to take deep, big breaths in, and you'll see the person doing the same thing. They'll start to mimic the horse, and as the horse relaxes, you'll see shoulders come down. You know, the level of this comes down, and then they're able to relax, and that's the other therapeutic benefit of horses. So they're a mirror to what's happening with individuals and tells them how they need to modify their behavior, get to the bottom of what's causing that, obviously first. But and then also they're just this wonderful. It's like therapy dogs. You don't really have to understand how it works, but if you spend time with the dog, you just feel better. You relax. You develop this bond, and it's exactly the same with horses.
Wow. Yeah. Like, that's so beautiful. I love that. Like that the horse would feel if someone's stressed or anxious and taking a breath, and then, because it's all about bringing people into the present moment, right? You're with the horse, you're present, just like dogs. It brings you out of your head and your brain that's overthinking.
That's right.
Yeah.
And with a 1,200-pound animal, you have to be in the moment. You have to be aware of what's going on, and not that they're our horses are therapy horses. They've been there, done that. They understand. They're older. They don't tend to be as high strung as a 4-year-old off the track or something like that. So they a lot can happen, and they're just steady and they're calm, and they just try to work with that human. They have no other agenda. They don't have any bias, no preconceived notion of what you're wanting from them. They are truly in the moment. They're reacting to everything that happens as it happens, and then it's over. So, where people go along in their lives and they're constantly worried about being judged, or people have forming opinions based on, and biased opinions, and horses, there's nothing like that. These people come onto the property, and, we are a 100% therapy barn. So they don't have to worry about who's watching, what they're thinking, what's going on. They can be 100% in the moment with that animal, and we're there to guide them. And then that's it. They forget about everything else for that hour or for however long they're on the property.
That's incredible. So before the pandemic and this Frontline Heroes program, what is the word? What kind of people were you helping? Was it were you working with people with special needs, or people that were under like PTSD, or what was the main?
Not so much the PTSD part. We cater to all individuals, all ages, all abilities. So when you talk to some people about equine therapy, if they even know about it at all, they go, "Oh, that's really great. You work with kids with autism." Yes, we absolutely do. They make up a big portion of our clientele. But we also work with adults that have physical abilities that need some special physiotherapy. We have a physiotherapist that does physiotherapy on the horse. So we have adults that have MS, for example, kids that have muscular dystrophy. It's the gamut that we treat, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's a wide range of ages and abilities. It's not just autistic kids. We also have teenagers that come on the property, and they have perhaps some familial trauma that's happened. They've been witnesses of domestic violence or something like that, and we'll deal with their anxiety and their stress. So really, we are able to provide services to a wide range of people and abilities. It's quite comprehensive.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. So when the pandemic hit, I think you had to close, right? Like what happened? I think all of us were in that shock of like, what is happening? Do we actually have to close? Like, you know, and so that would have been probably mid-March for you. When did you realize you'd have to make changes?
It was, it was when COVID hit. The effects were severe. They were deep, and it was really traumatic for all of us. We had to close down. We had to close down right away because
you had to close down right away.
We had to shut. We canceled our lessons, and we had to lay off all of our staff except for those that were fundamental to equine health. So our barn, we transitioned very quickly to a very lean barn staff. So we didn't have people crossing over, and we had a very skinny crew that looked after our animals, because to them it doesn't make any difference. COVID or not, they need to be fed. Their stalls need to be cleaned, the paddocks and done, the water buckets scrubbed out and fresh water, and medications given and all that sort of stuff. That doesn't stop. So we and then we are incredibly blessed that we have an amazing volunteer team. But we even had to limit our volunteers coming onto the property. So it was essential equine personnel only. If you weren't a vet, a farrier, or somebody that was essential to the care of those animals, we couldn't let you on the property. And so it was extremely tough. I mean, we had parents calling later on, like a couple of months later, when the province was thinking about reopening or stage 1. When can we come back? Our kids are just so anxious to get back to their riding. And I had a woman who has MS, and her only means of therapy, the ones that she gets the most benefit from, are swimming pool and riding. And she couldn't do either. And her doctor was saying, when can you we don't know when the pools are going to open, but when can you get back on your horse? And we just had to keep saying, we're really sorry, but we're limited, and we have to keep everybody safe. So volunteers that they spend a good chunk of every week helping us out. They couldn't come on the property. It was crazy. It was eerie going onto the property sometimes, because usually it's bustling with activity, and the horses are coming in and out of the arena, and kids are laughing, and adults are stopping in to say hello to our administrator, things like that. That all came to a grinding halt overnight. And zero revenue.
And what?
And again, we also took us down to zero revenue. We had, everything that our revenue comes predominantly from our riding lessons. And so when we couldn't offer those, our revenue also went to zero. So we were faced with, it was quite a change. Yeah.
Wow. You just don't realize, like, the pandemic is affecting everyone in so many different ways, and there's such a ripple effect in everything. Yes. And I just think until I saw you, because I saw you on the news. That's how I met you. I was like, I'm reaching out to her because your story is amazing, and I hadn't thought of that, like how it would affect something like the therapy horses, and
it's across Canada. We are one of our governing bodies, the Canadian Therapeutic Riding Association. We were jumping on calls with them because we were all trying to figure out how the rules apply to us. Things that we could do to stay afloat. And the stories were horrific. People having to rehome these horses that they've had in their herd for years. There's a bond there. It's like giving away one of your kids almost. It's the stories were heartbreaking. Some were set up to. We were lucky. We've had a great board. We're all volunteer, by the way, and for years, long before I was on there on the board, we've had great leadership that made sure Valley was positioned to weather something. We didn't know it would be this bad. But we were able to do that. A lot of barns, they are literally hand to mouth, and 1 month of no revenue is enough to send them packing. So yeah, it was devastating. We had some pretty heartbreaking stories. I think I cried every day for the first month of the pandemic, just listening to the horror stories. It was heartbreaking.
So when did you start the Frontline Heroes program? Can you explain that?
Yeah, for sure. Prior to COVID, a colleague and I were working on getting a program together for post-traumatic stress sufferers. Not so much the treatment. That's a very serious disorder that needs some very highly trained, specifically skilled individuals. But we thought, why can't we work in the prevention side? So we started reaching out to people who are already in that space, and a couple that are actually using horses, trying to think how we could develop the program. And then COVID hit. So I read an article in the Globe and Mail about the echo pandemic, the pandemic of mental health illnesses that's going alongside COVID, and how it was ramping up, and people were really suffering from being on the front lines of the pandemic day after day, and needing some sort of relief. And I thought, well, wait a second, we're kind of already halfway there in terms of what we want to do. Why can't we develop a program that will offer a recreational therapeutic session for these frontliners, so that they can just come out to a country setting? It's beautiful. The horses are lovely. It's just them. The sessions are one-on-one, and give them some stress relief. We know how horses can help with stress reduction, and providing that break from the stress of everyday life. Why can't it work for frontline workers? So we very quickly pivoted from trying to get the PTSD program up and running to Frontliner program. And in about 3 weeks, we fleshed out we got a psychologist on board to give us a hand. We developed a promotional video. We reached out to some frontliners. We ran a pilot program, and in about a month, we had the program up and running.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. I those super project driven, and especially with such a compassionate bend to it, is something that I've always been driven to, or attracted to, and driven by. So we very quickly just thought, this we can help these people, and then that's what Therapeutic Barns do. We help people. We're always looking for ways to alleviate either physical, mental, or emotional issues that people are dealing with in their lives in a very unconventional way. What we really need to do is get equine therapy out there in the public realm more predominantly, because it is such an effective tool. And that's a long-term goal of mine and of Valley Therapeutics, is to elevate equine therapy. So we can help lots of different people, and therapy barns across Canada feel the same way. We are now, it's so much good has come out of this program. We are now getting together with other therapeutic riding establishments, working collaboratively on programs like the Frontliner program or other ways to help people. And we're going to, as a group, because one organization is great, but if you have 10 organizations banging on the doors of government and other establishments for support, you're more likely to be heard. So that is the long-term goal, and this is a stepping stone. And in the meantime, we get to help all these amazing frontliners. Their stories are just incredible.
Yeah. Oh, really? So you've had nurses come?
Nurses, doctors, care home workers. We've had a lot of people nominate. A mother nominated her 3 kids. 2 of them are nurses. One is an EMT. Gifted them the program, gifted them a session, and we get the nominator to send us a note, and then we put it in a little card and we hand it to the frontliner before their session, so that they can get a little personalized note from the person who sponsored them. And it's just sets the tone for the whole session. It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. It's been great. But
that's amazing. So okay, so a typical session, would they come, is it like an hour? Do they?
Yep.
What is the typical?
It's one-on-one. So generally there isn't anybody else with you during the program, during the session, so that you can feel free to do what you need to do to alleviate some of your stress. We had one frontliner that she cried from the second she got there until she left. And we were sort of looking like, oh, are you okay? And she goes, no, you don't get it. These are tears of happiness. I am so incredibly relieved to have been here. And what she did, she chose to have an off-horse experience. So not everybody wants to ride. And what we say is you don't need to get the benefit. So that you come onto the property, and once we've gone through the very strict protocols in terms of the checklist of, how are you feeling today? You wash your hands, you don your mask, you go into the barn and you meet your therapy horse. And then you spend some time grooming that horse and learning about, it can be a very quiet session and you can just be, or you can take it, you can use it as a way of learning. You can ask questions of our instructor. It's one-on-one. She's there for you. So you can basically make it whatever you want. And at a time that works for you, you can go into the arena and you can get on the horse, or you can choose to have a ground experience, an off-horse experience, where we will take you through some liberty exercises. So free lunging the horse, getting the horse to respond to you and get them to do what you're asking them to do. You can't think about the stressors you've left behind and do that at the same time. It really forces people to step out of all that discomfort and just be right there in that arena working with this horse. And then if you choose to ride, we'll get you in the saddle. You can ride in the arena. We also have some gorgeous nature trails that we get, a mile worth of nature trails that we can take you on. And 90% of the rides are so that the horse has a leader, and that leader works with the horse, and the instructor works with you. So you don't have to worry about controlling the horse. The horse is looked after for you, but you get all the benefits of the movement. That movement of the horse it stimulates the left and right side of your brain at the same time, and it induces this relaxation. So you can focus on your relaxation. The instructor will give you some stretching and some breathing and some mindfulness exercises if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. And we'll basically finish out the session with some deep breathing exercises. Or if you are a chatter like I am, you can chat. You can chat to your heart's content.
So it's whatever works for that person that's coming in. You just go with the flow of.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't want to constrict people to a prescribed hour. Okay, it's 1:15. We got to do this. You got to do that, because they live with that all day long. Schedules, routines, that sort of stuff. This is an hour of, we don't know what it's going to look like. Make it your own, and we're here to support you. That's all you need to know. And then off they go.
Honestly, it's amazing. I think it's just an incredible thing you're doing. It's going to help so many people. And so say I knew someone that I wanted to sponsor how would I go about doing that?
All the information is on our website. It's VTEA, which stands for Valley Therapeutic Equestrian Association. So it's vtea.ca. And there's a little banner on the right side that says, "Not today, COVID-19." And it's cute, eh?
Yeah, that's good.
And then there you can click on, you find all the information with the program. And if you want to sponsor somebody, you can click on that link and it'll just walk you through the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll put the link in the comments so people can click on it and check out the website. So yeah, it's amazing. I think, what you're doing is incredible. And it's been interesting because now I kind of understand what it does for people. And I love that the horse mirrors them or can sense. Like, I didn't realize that.
Oh, they're very good at it. Well, you know what you should do, Jane, is you should come down and have a session, and then you'll be able to speak firsthand.
Maybe I will, because Actually, I'm from Vancouver. When I was young, I was there, so I would love that. So, what do you think? What do you feel? You might have already answered this, but what do you feel is the silver lining in this pandemic? Like, do you feel there is something that is going to come out of it?
You know, I think it's always good to try to look for silver linings in situations that are hard. And if I could focus on one, is that I think, before the pandemic hit, we were not we as in Valley, but we as people were trying to get conversations going about mental health. Mental health is something that's so important on so many levels. And I think that if COVID has done something positive, that it is highlighting that mental health issues really need to be provided ways to help people through these incredibly stressful situations. I mean, you have all these organizations trying to do the bell talks and things like that, and it's great, it's all great, but I think we need to be even better at providing mental health in every walk of life, in every situation. We all know that anxiety and depression are only increasing in our populations, so COVID has just made it worse. So I think we need to up the ante everywhere in terms of what's available for mental health.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that people, our lives are busy and they're stressful, and people like to put on that happy face. People like to, they're dealing with all this stuff. They bottle it all in, and then they go out in the world and they're like, oh no, I'm good. Everything's great. But so many people.
Yeah.
And I love about what you're doing, because it's like preventing. You can prevent people from like having breakdowns or really getting in a bad place. So then if you're able to calm them and have them feel what they feel when they're around horses and bring their stress down, they're going to go then to their families and feel calmer. And like the frontline workers, they can have the stress relief and then go home and be happier, and it's all around better for the whole family. So it's amazing.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, when you talk about, I'm not an expert on PTSD by any stretch of the imagination, but the literature I've read is that's very much what this kind of therapy does, is that it provides them with tools in a safe environment that they can then take back to their regular lives and apply them. And it has made a huge difference. And there's some people that just do not like the idea of spending time in an office with a therapist. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I think it's wonderful, and anybody who needs it, please try it out. It can be a big difference. But some people just don't want that closed in, constricted environment, and so equine therapy helps those people. It's not the traditional method. It's something different, and it gets all of your senses going. You're exercising, you're outside, you're with like-minded people, many of them, and then these animals. It's something totally different, but very effective.
Well, you're incredible. I am super grateful you came on the Compassion Project, and and thank you so much. So we will put a link in the comments so people can find your website and check it out. And
and if anybody's looking to volunteer, we're always looking for new volunteers. So please, if you're in the Lower Mainland and you'd like to do that, just reach out, get on our website. There's all the information you need. And if anyone has any questions, you can email us at info@vtea.ca, and we're happy to answer your questions. And just everybody be safe out there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, thanks so much, Lynn. Okay, bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.